already, hello and welcome to This Little Wonderful Life, my vlogging YouTube channel about life, the things I do, the things I enjoy, reading, adventures, everything I can think of. And I'm coming to you today with a bookish vlog. I feel like I need to have a cup of tea and being cosy right now, but I've just finished a cup of tea. But if I keep going on, I might go and make one halfway through, but I would suggest that you go and get yourself a nice cup of tea and get comfy, because we're going to have a lovely, cosy January chat about books. I thought I wanted to update you on where I am with what I've been reading and the kind of goals and milestones I reached with my reading in 2023. But I also wanted to share with you all of the books that I got for Christmas or over the Christmas period. So I've got a big pile of books here. See, it's not too bad, is it? It's quite restrained. And these are in no particular order. I'm just going to go from top to bottom and explain who they were from and what they are. And maybe we'll do a bit of Googling along the way to find out stuff about them. So first of all, right at the top, this gorgeous tiny little hardback book. It says Celebrate Christmas in Magical Style with this special festive edition. And it is Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. And I want to just show you what the actual hard cover looks like. Oops. How cool is that? It's a little festive chessboard. And the end pages. Festive. It's just adorable. Oh, look at the spine as well. I know you're supposed to keep the dust covers on, but like, that's so much nicer than that, isn't it? The green one. So pretty. And look, it's got gold sprayed edges. So Christmassy. And yeah, it's just beautiful the way it's done. And all the text and the illustrations are printed in red. It's just lovely. I'm going to spend a lovely time sitting with this. Probably around November time next year, and plenty of time to read it. I love Alice in Wonderland. I will confess, I don't think I've ever read Through the Looking Glass. That can't be true. Now I've said that, I think that might be a lie. I might have read it in my youth, in my childhood. But yeah, so this was a gift from my friend Kay. So thank you so much, Kay. I will treasure this. It's a forever book. So the next one was also a gift from lovely Tiffany. It is called the Tuesday Evenings with the Copeton Craft Resistance by Kate Solly. Now this was sent to me because Tiffany, I'll show you the Christmas card she sent me, see if you can guess where Tiffany's from. G'day, have a ripper Christmas, mate. Tiffany's in Australia. So she sent me a lovely little parcel of goodies from Australia, including this book, and Kate Solly is an Australian author. So I'm going to read you the blurb. Meredith established the Copeton Crochet Collective, no knitters please, because it would be like having friends, only with her in charge and because there would be no men. It comes as a nasty shock then when Luke, the handsome grandson of no-nonsense Edith, decides to stay and learn to crochet. Claire wants to escape her relentless children, and Yasmin joins so that someone might ask her who she likes on MasterChef instead of asking the same 5 questions about her hijab. When plans for a new mosque wake the sleepy town, Copeton is stirred and Islamophobia bubbles to the surface. The Crochet Collective becomes the Craft Resistance, and this motley crew of fibre arts enthusiasts begin to battle racism and bigotry with colour and creativity. But will the fragile threads of community be enough to bind them when more than one member has something to hide? So I'm really looking forward to reading this. It's really interesting. Obviously crochet is a huge love of mine, so that's a big draw to this book for me, a crochet group. It is my number one love. I love knitting, but crochet has my heart. I also love Aussie MasterChef. Dan and I were a little bit obsessed with that for a long time, and we still watch it now. Kate Solly, I believe, I haven't looked much into this at all. I do try to avoid reading much at all about books before I get stuck in, but I did have a little bit of a look because Kate Solly is, I think this is her debut novel. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure this is a debut novel. She's a white author, and obviously she's writing about a subject which will include the character Yasmin, who is Muslim, and obviously she can't write about that from a first-hand lived experience, so it'll be interesting to maybe find out how that has been received. Yeah, lovely cover, really like it, and I'm really fascinated to read it and see how it's handled. Very interesting combination of subjects. So thank you so much, Tiffany, for that. I'd never heard of it before, so it was really nice to receive a book that I would never otherwise have seen. Okay, next up, from my sister. Last year, my sister, who had been going on for years about me reading Kazuo Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go. I wasn't listening to her, so in the end she just forced a copy upon me. She got a second-hand copy from eBay and I devoured it. I absolutely loved that book. It was wonderful. So this year she got me Remains of the Day by the same author. I'm sure you've all heard of Remains of the Day, but I shall read you the blurb. A contemporary classic, The Remains of the Day is Kazuo Ishiguro's beautiful and haunting evocation of life between the wars in a great English house. In the summer of 1956, Stevens, the ageing butler of Darlington Hall, embarks on a leisurely holiday that will take him deep into the countryside and into his past. I'm really looking forward to reading this. Like I say, I loved Never Let Me Go, and yeah, this is definitely on my list for this year. Now we've got a couple here. No, we've got one more here. I'm not sure if this was from my sister or my mum. I can't remember. I think it might have been from my sister. But it's The Mad Women's Ball by Victoria Mass. Isn't that an amazing cover? I didn't think I really appreciated that fully when I opened it on Christmas Day. It's interesting actually because it is very reminiscent, that kind of kaleidoscope. It's very reminiscent of Louis Wain's Kaleidoscope Cats. Louis Wain was famously a patient at Bethlehem Hospital, which is also an asylum, which this is about. I'll get to the point. Oh, now an Amazon Prime film starring Melanie Laurent. I might watch that afterwards. Okay, French pronunciation here, I apologise. The Salpêtrière Asylum, 1885. All of Paris is enthralled to Dr. Charcot and his displays of hypnotism on women who have been deemed mad or hysterical. But the truth is more complicated. These women are often inconvenient, unwanted wives or strong-willed daughters. Once a year, a grand event is held, the Mad Women's Ball. For the Parisian elite, it is the highlight of the social season. For the women themselves, it is a rare moment of hope. Genevieve is a senior nurse who has placed her faith in Dr. Charcot and his new science, but everything changes when she meets Eugenie, the daughter of a bourgeois family. For Eugenie has a secret and she needs Genevieve's help. Their fates will collide on the night of the Mad Women's Ball. Now it's got some lovely little quotes on the back. Richly immersive, utterly captivating, darkly delightful gothic treasure. So it sounds good. It's quite a short book. About 200 pages. And I think the reason this was bought for me is because I work at a hospital, I work at a museum that is all about the history of mental health treatment and asylums. So I'm going to love this. I'm really interested to read it. So thank you, Mum or Jenny, whoever it was. Okay, next up I have one that I asked for. I've had it on my Amazon wish list for a while and Dan wanted to know what I wanted, so I said, oh, you might as well get me this. It is The Cinnamon Snail by Rosemary Whitaker. Now the only thing I knew about this was it was set in Denmark and I have a slight obsession with the country of Denmark. We went in 2018, I fell in love with it. We are hoping to go to Copenhagen, Dan and I, for 2 days in February or March. Just the two of us. I've just got to book that probably today or tomorrow. Really excited for that. And this is a romance. She found the love of her life. He just hasn't realised it yet. When Christian moves from Copenhagen to London, Kate quickly tumbles into love. He's the most handsome and charismatic man she's ever met, and she's all set for her happily ever after. Until he announces that he's returning to Copenhagen and he doesn't want her to go with him. Nothing Kate can say will change his mind. All she can do is plan a new future without him, and if that future just happens to be in Denmark, that's entirely her own business. She gets a job at the Cinnamon Snail Cafe and sets out to win Christian back. His new girlfriend is a slight problem, but when true love is on the line, anything goes. Kate has a year to prove she can settle into a new country and persuade the love of her life that she means business. A piece of cake. A delightful new story of Danish pastries, romance, and lots of hygge. And this, it says at the bottom, a year in Denmark, year away, book 1. So there may be more books set in other countries, I'm not sure. Now it looks slightly Christmassy, the cover, but it doesn't mention Christmas or anything. And if we're going away shortly to Copenhagen, I'm probably going to read this pretty soon. And yeah, and I just like the fact that it sounds like a sort of a romance, but not in the traditional sense, because she's going after someone who clearly has snubbed her. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to the setting in beautiful Denmark and beautiful Copenhagen, and I'm really excited to read this. I think I will read this when I finish my current book, which I will talk about shortly. My lovely eldest daughter Lilia has got a job. She has been working at Waterstones since November. It was a temporary Christmas job, and I'm delighted to say that she has been kept on permanently, and she is now permanent weekend staff. It has been her dream to work in a bookshop. I'm so proud of her, and she is, you know, she's earning money. So and she gets a really good discount. So this year she bought me a Christmas gift herself, and she got me 2 books from work, and she picked them so beautifully. I was so touched with the thought that she put into these. So the first one that she bought me is Wonka. So this is inspired by Roald Dahl's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, written by Sybil Pounder and based on the screenplay by Simon Farnaby and Paul King. There we go. So obviously Wonka is in the cinemas at the moment. I desperately want to go and see it. I'm going to see if I can gather the family to come with me in the next week or 2, because I really want to see it. But this is the book of it. So before Charlie, before the Chocolate Factory, comes a story of invention and imagination. The best things in life begin with a dream. Ever since he was a child, Willy Wonka dreamed of making chocolate and sharing it with the world. As a young man, he arrives at the world-famous Galleries Gourmet, determined to change the world one delectable bite at a time. But hounded by a trio of jealous chocolatiers and tricked into a lifetime of washhouse drudgery, Willy will need a little luck and a whole lot of magic, along with some help from a few friends, to fulfill his destiny. Because if you're Willy Wonka, anything is possible. And this, I believe, is a middle grade book. So I'll just show you an example of the size of the writing. Yeah, so it would be written for a young audience, so I'm probably going to read this fairly quickly, but it was just so perfect. And she got me another children's book, and it's just delightful. It is Ming Mail. We have a few Moomin children's books that we used to read when they were growing up, and I will never get rid of them. And this is going to be added to the collection. It's a new one, so it's inspired by the works of Tove Jansson, and it's by Amanda Lee and Philippa Widland. And it's an interactive book. Phoebe and I actually started reading this last night. We were feeling a bit cosy and a bit silly, and we thought, oh, we'll start reading it. And we were captivated by it. He's on a treasure hunt. We're only halfway through it. And throughout the treasure hunt, he gets letters. So here's the front of the letter here. And then you turn it round to retrieve the letter. So this is a letter from Snufkin to Moomin Troll. And it's an actual letter. It's the cutest thing. And where we got to last night, the letter we opened was from Moomin Mama, and in it is her recipe for Moomin Mama's pancakes. So we're going to be making Moomin Mama's pancakes. So I would, if you've got young children, it is a magical read. Phoebe's 13 and way too old for this, but even she was absolutely delighted by opening all the letters. We're going to finish it later. Okay, next up is another one I'm not sure what was for my mum or my sister. I'm pretty sure it's for my mum. And that is In Memoriam by Alice Wynne. At once epic and intimate, humorous and profound, a vivid rendering of the madness and legacy of the First World War as seen through the lens of a schoolboy love affair. This is the front cover. So let's see, is there a blurb? No, that's all. This is all praise for it, which is very good to see. Oh, here we go. In 1914, war feels far away to Henry Gaunt, Sidney Elwood and the rest of their classmates, safely ensconced in their idyllic boarding school in the English countryside. At 17, they're too young to enlist, and anyway, Gaunt is busy fighting his own private battle, an all-consuming infatuation with his best friend, the dreamy, poetic Elwood, not having a clue that Elwood is in love with him, and always has been. When Gaunt's German mother asks him to enlist in the British Army to protect the family from anti-German attacks, Gaunt signs up immediately, relieved to escape his overwhelming feelings for Elwood. The front is horrific, of course, and though Gaunt tries to dissuade Elwood from following him to the battlefield, Elwood soon rushes to join him. Once in the trenches, Elwood and Gaunt find fleeting moments of solace in each other, but their friends are all dying in front of them, and at any moment they could be next. An epic tale of both the devastating tragedies of war and the forbidden romance that blooms in its grip. In Memorium is a breathtaking debut. How good does that sound? Again, not a book I would have picked up, but because my mum has she would have either read this and passed it on, or found it in a charity shop or in a bookshop and thought, oh, I'll get that for Ali. Now I've got it. That just sounds amazing. And in fact, I might see if I can listen to it and do sort of a dual listen and read with my eyes as well. So that's that one. This one was definitely from my mum. It's Ruth Jones, Us Three. I really love Ruth Jones as an actress and a writer. That was a funny noise, wasn't it? Did you hear that? I think that was a van or something, but nothing went past. Very peculiar. Yeah, so Ruth Jones, Us Three. Let's have a look. Oh, bright yellow end pages. Right. When they are 8 years old, best friends Lana, Judith and Katrin swear on an oath on a curly-whirly wrapper that they'll always be there for each other. Us three, come what may. For years they keep their promise. The invisible triangle connecting them remains balanced, equilateral, never two against one, until betrayal and tragedy strike and the childhood bond that they once shared is broken. But when a life-changing event brings the three women back together, they have the chance to rekindle their age-old friendship. The question is whether they want to, or even whether they can. Told over 4 decades, Us Three is a moving, funny and compelling story of love, loss and the enduring power of female friendship. It's not as beefy as it looks. I think it's about 350 pages, but that sounds really good. So author Ruth Jones, I know, has written a few books. I haven't read any of them, so this will be my first experience of her as a writer. It says also by Ruth Jones, Never Greener, but there may be more than that. So thanks, Mum, for that. And finally, this is the last book that I received for Christmas. It was another one from Dan and one that I had asked for. Before I went to Denmark in 2018, I read The Little Book of Hugo by Mike Viking, who is a Danish author. And I read that cover to cover and I absolutely loved it. And he's got another book called My Hugo Home, How to Make Home Your Happy Place. It's a bit bigger than The Little Book of Hugo. And I just thought this not only was a beautiful book, isn't that lovely, but I'm really looking forward to dipping into it. He's a funny writer, and even though this looks like one you might dip into and just look at the pictures, it is actually quite text heavy and a good read. I find him really interesting to read. He's funny and interesting, and yeah, there's a lot in here about cluttering, decluttering and so on, and you know how much I'm into that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one as well. I'm so lucky I've got all these wonderful books. It is editing me from the future, just dropping in to say that I forgot at this point to introduce my special guest on today's vlog, which is my eldest daughter Lilia, who is going to come on and talk about the books that she got for Christmas. So I'm going to pop that in now so you can enjoy hearing about those. She did miss one out, which was Red, White and Royal Blue by...
Casey McQuinton.
Who?
Casey McQuinton.
Casey McQuinton, but we'll talk about that in the future. So here's Lilia talking about the books she got for Christmas. Okay, so this is us in the past, in true Doctor Who style. We've travelled back to the past, and Lilia is going to share the books that she got for Christmas. Yes. And you'll have to excuse us because it's actually New Year's Day, and we went to bed very, very late and we're a bit dishevelled. Okay.
What should I start with?
So I should say Lilia's 17, she'll be 18 in March. And she works in a bookshop.
Yes, I did.
So she hears about things.
So this,
So I hold it up.
yeah, you hold it up. This is Wildfire. It's the newest book from Hannah Grace, who wrote Icebreaker, which is like a hockey romance. And it's not like a second book, it's more like a second in the world.
Oh, okay, like a
You know?
companion
Like
book.
a companion, and there's going to be like multiple companion books, and it's going to go through the hockey team.
Okay.
So like each guy gets his own story.
Oh,
I thought that was so cute.
That's nice, yeah.
And then this one, they're like both workers at like a camp, because you know kids in America go away at camps, which is weird. And they both work there, and then they fall in love.
Why is that weird?
I don't know, I just always thought it was weird.
We don't have that kind of thing here. We have like summer clubs and things, but you don't go away and stay at them particularly, do you?
No, unless it's guy camp, but that's not in the summer.
Wouldn't you want to go to like drama camp?
No. I wouldn't.
Yeah. You don't fancy it?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, let us know your experiences of camp.
And then,
Did anyone go to book camp?
oh, I'd love to go to
Book camp would be good. Right,
And
next one.
Yes, exactly. This is. Oh, you hold it up.
Yeah.
This is The Cruel Prince. I've wanted this one for a while. This was like one that I first heard of when I got back into reading. And one of my friends has read it and they love it. It was B.
Oh, okay.
And it's fantasy romance. I don't actually really know what the plot is. I just know that it's enemies to lovers, so I wanted it.
Enemies to lovers fantasy romance.
Yeah, exactly. And then this one is what... Oh, you can hold it. This one is what Bryony got me from the Bakery Bears.
So our friends Dan and Kay, their daughter Bryony is the same age as Lilia, and they're in touch, and you were pen pals when you were younger, and you share many interests, including reading.
Including reading.
So this was a present from them.
Yes.
And I believe Bryony chose it.
Bryony did
Yeah.
choose it because Bryony knows me very well, and this is like a very well-known romance. It's like I heard about it when I was getting into romance, and then I was like, oh, that actually sounds quite good. And this one's friends to lovers, I think, and a bit Christmassy.
Oh, a bit Christmassy. Ooh. Are you going to save that for later in the year? Or you yeah.
So now I have Love Light Farms and I have Confessions of a Christmaholic.
Oh, yes.
And he's a single dad, and he's a great dad.
He's a great guy. You've
He's
got to
a
have
great guy.
a great guy
He's
in
a
a Christmas
neat guy.
romance.
And then, oh my gosh, I've been dying to read this series forever. You can hold it up there now.
The ballad.
The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, which I recently realised is actually the second book in the series.
Oops.
So
Because you asked for this, didn't you?
The first one is Once Upon a Broken Heart, but I'll just get that for my birthday along with the other ones. And then there's like a mini series that comes before this.
And what are these about? These ones?
Fantasy romance.
Fantasy romance.
Fantasy romance, that's it. I think it's like one of those things where... You remember Ever After High?
Yeah,
And, like,
loved Ever After High.
And like everybody has like their preset story and they have to follow the story. It's that, and then like two people fall in love who are not supposed to fall in love.
Oh, okay, that sounds good.
And then this one, I've wanted this for ages, and
Better.
I've made it a face out in the teen section at work because the teen section is my section. And
So
I was allowed to make it a face out because it's really, really good.
what's a face out when you work at a bookshop, Lilia? What does a
It's
face
when the
out
book
mean?
is face out.
On the shelf.
On the
so
shelf.
it's not just spine
so
out.
there's like
face out.
multiple, and then people can just take it out. And then usually there's like a little tag under it that explains why it's there.
So Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter.
Yes, I heard about that one for ages. It's like friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, childhood friends, all of that. And it's like proper classic, just terrible romance movie, really.
Oh, I do like a nice, easy romance.
Yeah, and that's YA, so
it's YA,
PG.
yeah. And you got something else, didn't you?
did.
That was really good for Christmas. And I said to her to bring it up because honestly, it's one of the best things. So we need to explain that Lilia, when she reads her books, she doesn't just read them.
No, I vandalised them.
She annotates all of her books. She writes little notes in them. She colour codes them. She tabs them. And sometimes she does that with people's favourite books to give to them as a gift with her thoughts and notes to them in it. It's really, really lovely. And she does this with books she keeps. What have you got there?
I have got an embosser.
An embosser.
So this is the case.
This is the case, and you can just about... Actually, if you get it out, and then Have you got any embossed books?
I have one downstairs.
All right, if we show them and
the one that I'm reading, and then I can talk about the book.
Okay. We'll show them what it is and how it works. You'll have to hold it up so everyone can see it. It comes out of the box like that.
It comes out of the box like that.
So shiny.
It is really shiny. And then like you have to open it up, and then
give it a shove until it clicks, haven't you? There we are.
And then it looks like this, and then like you squeeze.
You squeeze it. So do you want to go and get the one you're reading now and talk about that and show everyone what it looks like?
So I got, at work, we get a list of books every month that are like up and coming or whatever, and we can email in to the publishers and just say, I really want to read your book, and then they sometimes send it to you. And that's what I did with this.
Consider Me by Becca Mack.
Becca Mack. This is what I did with the entire series, so I have all three of them.
Do you? Oh, I didn't know you had all three of them.
Consider Me, Unravel Me, and Play
Now,
With Me.
this is a long book.
It's a hefty book.
It's a hefty book. And you've had it for how long? When did you start reading it?
I started reading it 3 days ago.
3 days ago. She is more than halfway through it. And we just keep hearing these little squeaks from her end of the sofa.
Been at work and stuff like that.
Yeah, you've been busy. And she's, this
busy.
is so good. This is so good.
It is so good. It's so good. This is one of the best hockey romances I've read.
Oh, it's a hockey romance.
It is a hockey romance.
This is a whole subgenre of romance.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
Are they YA or are they...
No.
No. Are they sort of 18 plus?
Yeah.
Okay. Less said about that, the better. I don't know if I can get it to focus, Lilia.
Will it focus?
Oh, there we go. So I don't know if you can see, but it says annotated.
Bye, Lilia.
Yeah. I'll have to make an attempt to fuzz out your surname there, for privacy. Thank you, Lilia.
You're welcome.
Any other thoughts you wish to share on books?
I love them. Yes, okay. Yeah, okay.
Didn't she do a good job? I hope you enjoyed that. Now let's go back to me now, or in the past for future me. This is very confusing. Talking about my most recent reads. So let's look back a bit on 2023. A little bit of a catch up on how I did. So I set myself a target last year of reading 50 books, and in the end I read, how many did I read? 60 or 61, I think. Hang on. Storygraph gave me a little sort of summary thing. 2023 reading wrap up. Yeah, 60 books across 11,484 pages and 289 hours. Yeah, so I thought I'd just give you a bit of an update on the ones that I finished most recently and the one that I started last night. I listened to loads of audiobooks over December, and they were all really light and fluffy Christmassy ones, and I didn't give one of them more than 3.5 stars, and that one was because the author, the narrator was so good, otherwise it would have just been 3. But I just wanted to share with you the 3 physical books that I've got here. So right at the end of 2023, I was reading Murder on the Christmas Express by Alexandra Benedict. I was reading this as a little read along with some of my friends, Becky at Back to Buy Tea, Gaynor at Tales from Cuckoo Land, Sarah at Yarn Mugs, Emma at Eldenwood Craft, and Sarah, who is Sarah One Daisy on Instagram. We were all reading this and then chatting about it on WhatsApp. I really enjoyed this, and I thought it was going really well, and it kept me guessing, and in the end was really kind of unsatisfactory. I won't give any spoilers or anything like that. The end was quite unsatisfactory, and there were too many holes in the plot, and at the end of the book I was left with too many questions that really weren't tied up and answered, and we discussed it a bit on WhatsApp and we couldn't really tie those ends even with discussing it. Yeah, it just seemed like this could have been brilliant. And there's a character in this called Roz, and I thought she was a very good character. And I would like to see more books with her in it. But the writing was very good, but the plot and it needs to be a bit tighter, I would say, in terms of how it all comes together. There were a lot of characters in this book, and some of them I wasn't really sure what the point of them was, and some of them, the reason they were there seemed a bit wishy-washy. And also, my biggest bugbear with this is, it is a murder story, and it's also quite dark. And what I really liked is it came with a trigger warning at the beginning. There was quite a long content warning. I say long, it's tiny, isn't it? But it was a very specific trigger warning, which I thought was really, really good, and gives you a warning about some of the content in here. It is quite dark. It contains a lot of information about sexual assault and rape, and that is quite a big part of the book. They are on a train. It is Christmas because they're all on their way home for Christmas. But why it's called Murder on the Christmas Express, I have absolutely no idea. I have no idea why they've decided to sell this as a Christmas read, because it isn't. I didn't go into it particularly needing something warm and festive. I had that going on in my ears all month, but this is not a Christmas story at all. It could have been called Murder on the Fort William Express, because that's where they're going. It could be set at any time of year, and Christmas has zero to do with the story, and it makes me a little bit niggly that they've marketed it as a Christmas book, because I feel that's misleading. But that's probably not on the author, is it? It's probably the publishers. Who publishes it? I mean, I know nothing about the publishing industry, I don't know. Simon & Schuster. So yeah, I think I gave this 3 stars. And then a couple of days ago, I finished Daisy Jones and the Six, and I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed it more in the first half than the second half, because it was just kind of more of the same. But it was a really interesting format of a book. It's presented as interviews with members of a former rock band that had a huge amount of success in the 70s and then suddenly just split up. And she's the author is basically compiling all of their stories, and it makes the story flow really well, and you really do keep turning the pages on this. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to watch I think it's on Netflix now, is it? Doesn't say. Oh, Amazon Studios TV series. So I'm going to watch that now and see how they've handled it. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and it was very evocative of that kind of era of you know, rock and roll lifestyle. There's quite a bit in here about addiction and families, and yeah, it's a tiny little bit of a twist towards the end. Not a twist, just like a slight reveal, but I would recommend it. I enjoyed it. I don't know what I'm going to give it. I'll probably give it 4 stars. Haven't decided yet. And then last night, I started a book that I have had since I was maybe 9 or 10 years old. Certainly younger than Phoebe is now, and she's 13. And that is The Hounds of the Morrigan by Pat O'Shea. It was published in the mid-1980s. It was given to me around that time, and I always wanted to read it and never quite got round to it. And it just came with me everywhere. It came with me to university, it came with me, you know, to every house I've ever lived in, and still I've never read it. So I thought, do you know what, this is ridiculous. Why have I got a book that's part of the furniture that I've never read? So last night I started reading it, and I was really nervous because I was like, oh my god, what if I start reading this? I absolutely hate it. I think it is I'm not sure what the age is. I get the feeling it's probably written for children, but the way books were written for children in the 1980s, the writing's quite small, and the main character is a boy who I think is about 13 years old. Yeah, so far so good. I am 30 pages in, and it's keeping me turning the pages so far. This is the bookmark that I'm using. Sounds weird I'm in. It's from what Victoria Red's Etsy shop. I'm not sure if she's selling these at the moment, but she was selling them to raise money for the charity. Her YouTube is a charity channel, so she was selling those to support the charity she was supporting last year, which I think was Book Trust. Yeah, so that's what I'm reading now, and that concludes the bookish chat. And it is now, oh, it's only 11:05. I was going to say I'm going to go and get some lunch, but I might film another video. Oh, I've just spotted something. because it's on a bookish theme, I had a lovely parcel of goodies as Christmas presents for me and Dan and the girls from lovely Lynn. Thank you, Lynn. And I wanted to share this one thing with you because it's very bookish and it did make me laugh. That's what I do. I read books and I know things. And it's a picture of a wise old fox. I'm going to see if Lilia might, because Lilia's a huge Fantastic Mr. Fox fan. And she would love that saying as well. So I might see if she wants me to put that up in her hallway or in her room. Right. Okay, on that note, I'm going to go and put away books and know things. I don't know anything. And I will see you in the next video next time. Until then, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here all last year and for all the love on my Vlogmas videos, my in-between video, my New Year's Eve video. I feel so lucky to have you lot watching. It's lovely. And I will see you again in the next video.